August 12th, 2026, there's going to be a total eclipse happening. And even though you might see things on the internet like cosmic portal and total reset, it's great to approach this information in a very grounded, practical way. I am Elena Gutierrez. I am an holistic therapist that uses self navigation tools like astrology, gene keys, and human design to better understand ourselves, the relationship with each other, and the universe. The solar eclipse that's going to be happening on August 12th is a beautiful image to hold because of many reasons. First, total solar eclipses are not a rare thing in nature, they happen every year and a half. What's rare is the precise location because eclipses repeat allocation every 400 years or so. So that's why some people travel to see total solar eclipses, or people get to see one in their lifetime, because even though they happen every year and a half somewhere in the world, they would happen in your backyard every 400 years. This eclipse is going to be visible in Iceland, Greenland, and Spain. There's a very special thing about the imagery this eclipse holds, and it's basically that this eclipse is going to be happening as the sun is setting. So visualize this, and the moon gets in between the sun and the earth, casting a shadow in the sun, blocking the solar light completely during daylight as sunset is happening. So that just sounds like a marvelous, wonderful, very special moment. What's relevant about this eclipse? This is the first eclipse after the changing of the nodes into Leo and Aquarius. And nodes are very important points in eclipses because they're literally where eclipses happen. South node is now in Leo. That's what we're shedding and that's what we're releasing. And this is actually a total solar eclipse in conjunction to the south node. So it's a south node eclipse. What we're releasing is the Leo need for applause after a performance. There's nothing wrong to perform, there's nothing wrong in shining, but we don't want to be attached to the results of it. That's limiting. And our soul is heading towards Aquarius, which is the collective, the community. So when we release this need for applause and this need to perform, we can flow more freely in our roles and also allow others to shine without feeling threatened by their light. In astrology, the sun represents our ego, our light, the light we came to shine. That's why it is the ruler of Leo. And the moon represents our unconscious, the things we can't see, the things that are in the dark, our past. During a total solar eclipse, the moon blocks the light of the sun, so our unconscious gets in the way of our ego and takes protagonism for a while. This is a beautiful moment to acknowledge, to recognize, to observe that unconscious. I love to work with the gene keys because they're a synthesis of many different schools of knowledge, and there's a gene key that represents each part of the zodiac, so it opens that archetypal window into that part of the zodiac. This total solar eclipse is gonna be happening on the part of the zodiac that corresponds to gene key 4. Gene key 4 is the Siddhi or superpower of forgiveness and the Shadow of Intolerance. So we're going from intolerance to forgiveness. And look what a beautiful message here if we weave it into the whole Leo ego South Node story as to what can our ego release the grip of? What story, what old story are we holding on to that is not allowing us to go into full forgiveness, and it's just keeping us in the shadow of intolerance towards ourselves and towards others? And one thing I really like to do with astrology is to ground it in. Instead of looking at eclipses as this fear-based portal thing, it's to understand the symbolical meaning and what we can do in a very grounded and empowering way. Eclipses are thresholds. because they are an interruption to the regular rhythms of nature, where the sun comes out and then goes down, and light and dark are in a very measurable rhythm, and eclipse comes to interrupt that. So it's understanding this power that lies in the threshold, right? In the midpoint. And it's really an ability to loosen grip of things that might seem very fixed in our lives, or fixed rhythms are being interrupted. So it's a space for an inner interruption or an inner exploration that might loosen a grip on something that feels very fixated. What to do during an eclipse? And that's a fun question. And traditional astrology, people wouldn't even look at eclipses because they fear them and they respect them. So it's just a fun thing to consider as it's being hyped up. It's like, really, what's the meaning of it, or what's the historical meaning of it? Maybe not necessarily I want to look at it or stare at it or travel to watch it, or maybe I do. That's really up to you, but it's just understanding the context. It's a moment of shadow work, a moment to observe yourself, and a moment to rest. And from there on, it's always in your power. Eclipses are this beautiful reminder that even though there is a rhythm and a pattern to how nature moves, there are also these beautiful, magical moments of interruption.